There have been no consequences for these leftists. So a middle-aged white woman who has no idea how severe this is, engaging federal law enforcement, thought she was going to accelerate and flee the scene after committing a felony. Now, that is beyond ignorant, okay? I watch these videos on Instagram where you see a dude on a motorcycle going 100 miles an hour on the highway fleeing cops, and you're like, yeah, you're not getting away.
No, you can't outrun a radio, no.
Or a helicopter.
Yeah.
This woman doesn't understand what she's getting involved in. Antifa activists who organize this literally do and plan for this. And it is my opinion, her death was a contingency these activists hoped for and planned for. What we know about how Antifa organizes in the far left is that they code people they bring to these events by color, red, yellow, and green. Green marked individuals are like her. Well, she might be green coded. The idea of the green, these are people who form the mass. You want them to get arrested intentionally. You trick them into getting arrested. Why? It radicalizes them. The yellow are the activists who are in the front leading the charge, and the red are the direct action people who hide in the crowd and instigate the fights to cause the violence. The way these plans work is you invite a bunch of doofy college kids to a protest and say it's a peaceful march. The plan they actually have, and I've seen these planning meetings during Occupy Wall Street and the various activities over the past 10 years. The direct action groups have a secret secondary meeting, a direct action planning, where they literally say, how do we maximize police brutality and arrests of the green category? If we can get 100 college kids who have no idea what's going on to show up and march, punch a cop, how many of them will get beaten and arrested? They intentionally want you to show up to get arrested. Why? Because then when you go to jail, they say, why are the cops doing this to you, you poor innocent victim? This woman is on the front lines, clearly having no idea what's going on, nor understanding the felonies she is committing, and then she tries to flee. And in doing so, put an officer in fear for his life, and he killed her. This is a contingency activists hope for. In these meetings, they want martyrs, and they got it, and now they have nationwide riots and protests.
In the same way that we have a moral compass, right? We have a moral compass. We have a system of values that guides everything that we do. Marxists and communists don't have that. Their system of values is what can we do that's going to get us closer to the revolution? What can we do that's going to get us closer to the rebellion? So they attack the law enforcement instead of attacking the law. They undermine the Constitution because it's nationalism, and that's the worst thing that they can possibly think of. Communists want to overthrow the family, religion, history, truth, nations. And so anything that they can do to get a little bit closer to that, to break down the fabric of America a little bit more, they're going to do that. And we're seeing this, and this is just a sacrifice for the revolution. That's how they see her.
I have been to many an activist meeting, and I have been, one of my favorite stories that I've told quite a bit is during an Occupy Wall Street protest where they were chanting, anticapitalista. That's what they chant, right? Well, there was one guy who was going, blah, nabi, agiba dabastida. He was just saying gibberish. And I'm not even kidding. It's not an exaggeration. And I was live streaming. So if you want to go find the Ustream, if it still exists, you can see it. And I asked him, I was like, what are you chanting? And he goes, oh, I'm just chanting with the crowd. And I was like, yeah, but what were you saying? And he was like, oh, I'm just, chanting. And I was like, no, what are the words? He's like, oh, I don't know. He didn't even know he was chanting anti-capitalist. These were college kids who came down to Occupy Wall Street, many of whom were tricked because the occupier said Radiohead was going to come play a concert. Not a joke. Literally happened. 2,000 people showed up being told Radiohead was playing a free concert at the park. These weren't activists. They were doofs who were like, cool, Radiohead. Then the activists say, we have to go march. People just say, okay, I guess are walking down the street. All of a sudden, they're getting whacked by cops. What happens next? They get arrested. The NYPD pulls out the orange kettling net. That's what they call it, the kettling net. Surround them, wrap them up, put them on a bus, send them to holding. Now you've got a 20-year-old young woman who was looking for a Radiohead concert, who has no idea why she was arrested, and the cops are callous. The cops are like, shut up, you're under arrest. So they have no idea what's going on. Then the activists come in to radicalize, and they say, aren't they evil? You didn't even do anything. You were just walking down the street and they attacked you. Why don't you sing songs with us? We're friends now. Here's my phone number. That's how they recruit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you're wrong in any of that stuff. It's just in this context, like I said, if she's a lawyer, I think that she probably was at least aware of how things kind of went, especially that with that National Lawyers Guild. You know, they're in contact with Antifa. The
National Lawyers Guild aren't necessarily lawyers.
Yeah, well, they're activists, right?
The National Lawyers Guild has observers who are not lawyers.
Okay, well, so
a legal observer is just a person who's wearing a hat, and it's a non-sanctioned distinction where a person says, "I'm actually just observing." It's meaningless. The police can arrest you all the same. Your hat does nothing.
Fair enough.
It's like a press pass. So I don't know that she was actually a lawyer.
Fair enough. So if she isn't, then you could be right. But like I said, if she was, my perspective on it is that she's not as much of an innocent bystander as other people might think. I think that
I just think if the argument is middle-aged white women are actually planning the murder of federal agents.
No, that's not the argument at all. The argument is that she was there thinking that she was going to go and she was going to help the Somali immigrants. She was going to get in the way of ICE because ICE are the bad guys. And I do think you're right that she was, believes the line.
You're saying that she did not. She did believe she would be shot and killed if she engaged law enforcement?
No, I'm saying that I don't think so at all. I think that liberal white women tend to think they're above the law. I think that, and there's a lot of it'll never happen to me. Right. It doesn't happen to me. That happens to other people. So I don't think that she did. I honestly don't think that she was trying to run the cop down.
I think we're just talking past each other because my point is, she was radicalized intentionally to come down to obstruct ICE.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand that committing felonies against ICE result in death.
Yeah, and I think what you guys are both...
Yeah.
We're saying the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think what you guys are both getting at is that even if she does have some association with the Lawyers Guild and these sorts of things, these people ultimately still have this sort of cocktail activism style where they really think that they can do these
luxury
things.
Beliefs.
Yeah, but like cocktail activism where there's a degree of edginess to it. They do know they're being a bit abrasive, but they don't expect like serious consequences for these things. They just expect maybe at the worst they'll get a mugshot, and then they can flaunt that.
Yeah, and you can put
they don't expect to get shot. So yeah, I think that's sort of really what's going on here. So even if she is maybe in these sort of Antifa adjacent organizations, I think even those people still underrate the moment that we're in, and that this is a new paradigm, and that the Trump administration really is. Trump himself is, I would probably assume, like paranoid of having another 2020 replay, and all the actions he's made thus far indicate that he is really serious about putting a lid on this before it does escalate into Summer of Love 2.0.
The principal activists who are career activists wanted her to die to create a martyr, but most of the frontline people, because these leftists don't put themselves in these positions, don't understand that they've seen so much leftists. They genuinely don't believe they're going to get shot.
Yeah.
They don't think they're doing anything other than expressing their First Amendment, despite the fact she was committing, I think, 2 different felonies.
Well, these people think that, they think that everything up to and including pushing police officers is an expression of your First Amendment. They think that they can assault police officers and get away with it because they're just there protesting. I'm at a protest, so I'm protesting.
Right.
It doesn't matter that I'm throwing rocks at the cops, right?
Yeah. And these people are also in a different world. Like, we have to keep in mind, like, this isn't Dallas, this isn't Houston, this isn't Miami. Like, Minneapolis, these people literally remember 5 years ago when they were allowed to do whatever they wanted, and there was literally no pushback whatsoever. So these people are also just in a completely different world being in Minneapolis.
I want to show you guys, we got a breaking report from the New York Times.